I'm going to talk about the process of adopting a financial strategy policy for the university, which is before you. In this visual, the choice of the puzzle pieces is intentional. It illustrates the importance of the financial strategy to complete the puzzle of the many priorities of this university that include the excellence of our academic programs, the quality of our student experience, the impact of our research and clinical care, and the investment in our facilities and technology. It also signals that the various pieces of this project are finally coming together. The proposition remains unchanged. Rutgers needs to work toward financial sustainability because we must do more than just ensure that the university survives. Beyond closing the structural deficit and keeping the doors open year after year, we must make decisions today so that the university can thrive into the future. That the university is facing a structural deficit is not new information. That said, the existing structural deficit, the tip of the iceberg, if you will, is just one facet of many challenges that lead me to stand before you today to propose this policy. As the image suggests, the problem is always deeper and more complex than we can see on the surface. Underlying challenges that contribute to the university's financial challenges and complicate our ability to provide our mission and extricate ourselves include facilities that no longer fit their purpose, technology that is out of date, organizational program efficiencies, and other things that are mentioned here. Of course, this is not the only way where we measure where Rutgers stands. When we compare internal benchmarks related to technology and facility needs versus current spend and future capacity, we underperform those goals substantially. Hearing all this, one may be thinking the university has reserves and an endowment that can be used in this case. The reality is we have used available resources and we've already drawn down reserves for current use while we progress towards financial sustainability. However, at the current pace, reserves will not be able to cover deficits indefinitely. And this is not about just now or the next year or two. A recent risk assessment, the university highlighted top risks. The top risks being deterioration of facilities, the failure to develop new programs, and cost increases among the highest issues, but also things such as poor data management, recruitment challenges, cybersecurity enrollment challenges, and reduction in state funds. This risk assessment does not reflect risks from my perspective, or those of the risk-related leadership roles of our consultants. This was an amalgamation of what members of the university community, in this case, the President's Cabinet and the cabinets of each of the chancellors, had to say. And the risks related to facilities, programs, and increased costs are notable when you consider their correlation to and the risks that they pose to the university's top revenue sources. We need to develop resources to address deteriorating facilities, to develop resiliency, to address technology needs, to develop new programs, and to address new capital needs. The good news, we're not starting from scratch. There's been a tremendous amount of progress in the past several years. There's hard work and innovation going on every day. That creativity helps Rutgers to navigate challenging pathways. There's real evidence these things are paying off. As you can see in things such as improvements in rankings, research productivity, the growth of the clinical enterprise, the university's reputation improving. But there's also much room to improve, and that's where the financial sustainability strategy comes in. Our potential is clear, but it requires hard work, a clear and bold direction, and appropriate level of resources. I've been enjoying partnering with my colleague, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Perlas Mogi, as we are looking for ways where the central administration, in particular academic affairs and university finance and administration, can help the members of the community, the deans, the directors, the chancellors, to move towards financial sustainability. And I'd like to turn over to Prabhas for a few words, please.
Thank you, Mike. Afternoon all. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about the academic dimensions of what these strategies towards financial sustainability might look like. All said and done, we are a higher educational institution with a purpose. The academic mission is to pursue student success through outstanding academic programs, advance high-impact scholarship that addresses grand challenges, and also advances research for the good of society, industry, and our communities. We all agree on that. An important part of working on this particular project is thinking about our local and collective aspects of financial sustainability. It begins with understanding who we are as an academic institution, who our academic constituents are, and what our academic products look like. We need to understand what we at Rutgers do uniquely well, areas where we can lead and offer unique educational pathways, but we also need to incorporate expertise from our internal and external stakeholders. There are copious stakeholders in New Jersey, our faculty, staff, alumni, partners in this endeavor. We have 29 decanal units, 4 chancellor-led units, each with their specialized missions and contexts. We would want to understand our academic outcomes and then work coordinately to strengthen our financial resilience. The premise is that we will be stronger together. We will have opportunities to capture collectively in this pursuit in a very intentional way. Now, these academic outcomes manifest in terms of the things that you might intuitively associate with: student graduation, persistence, student outcomes, access. We would want to layer on top of this our academic programs, and then the things that we need to invest in: our personnel. We need to invest in financial aid for our students. We need to invest in faculty hiring, their advancement, their scholarship outcomes. And then we need to think about revenue generation: grants, contracts, gifts, partnerships, as well as our innovations portfolio. So we have to be intentional thinking about this financial strategy around undertaking the work that relates to the data. It all begins with the data, illuminating our academic programs, especially those that are poised for growth. We want to be mindful that for an academic university such as ours, the reputation comes from diverse academic areas. So it's particularly incumbent on us, I believe, Mike, that we ensure that we find a balance between the market responsive areas and those that are mission critical. There doesn't have to be a tension between them, but there can be one, in which case we have to find a good balance. Beyond this strategizing, you might ask, what are we doing about this? As Mike said, we've already begun this work. We just have to get more intentional and visible around this. So each chancellor-led unit is doing an amazing job pursuing academic growth, continuous improvement, and new partnerships. We now have to be more intentional about collectively prioritizing this work, making it more visible. In addition, the chancellors are working, for example, at this moment, we talked about enrollment management. The chancellors are working together to coordinate their enrollment strategies for students, something that will improve our collective success for all chancellor-led units. But we have to further amplify this work. One example, my office is launching roadmaps, a 5-year initiative to amplify the chancellor's own signature initiatives to break down silos on each campus, or to break down silos across the chancellor-led units. This should spark new academic programs with opportunities to expand our markets. This should grow our interdisciplinary programs that will build on our strengths, but this should also help us build bridges across our schools and campuses. At the same time, a bit of a somber word. We have to be accountable for the progress that we make by exercising program reviews and evaluations. We've got to see how well we're doing and where we need to go. Which programs need to be revitalized to meet student demands or intellectual challenges, and where we ought to streamline underperforming programs, centers, or institutes that are no longer mission responsive. So in the coming years, Mike and our team will have annual goals to prioritize our new programs, our collaborations at scale, and continuous improvement, what that might look like to improve our effectiveness and our efficiency. I also want to mention one more particular initiative from the President, online education. to improve student outcomes and expand our markets, a key presidential charge. In addition, we can better position Rutgers for external partnerships that leverage our academic and research strengths. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Dr. Mogi. And this points out directly to the fact that this policy contains principles that begin with fulfilling the mission. So this graphic is called the Simplified Financial Sustainability Map. It lays out the key drivers of financial sustainability, and the implementation plan around this financial strategy will focus on efforts that can move the needle in each of these 5 areas. This is as much about strategic change, as shown down in the bottom right, doing things differently, as it is about thoughtful transactional improvements, doing things better, tying them together in a way that is mission aligned, financially and organizationally prudent, and clearly coordinated. The policy document that is before you today lays out the proposition that working towards financial sustainability is an imperative. It is what the university must commit to pursuing so the university has the resources necessary for fulfilling its long-term mission as well as operating appropriately and sufficiently day to day. The policy lays out specific financial targets that we believe will get us there where we need to be. And these metrics are based on best practices and external resources from sources like rating agencies, for instance, and they reflect prudent financial management. We'll rely on the suite of metrics to help guide decision-making and activity-related financial position, financial performance, and asset management, and to measure our success for this board and to guide our way forward. I'll be first to admit that this is not going to be easy. In case you're wondering this, it's not going to be smooth sailing. We're not going to have calm waters on day one. But we can and should work to get there. There's a funny thought behind here in that we often talk about the university is in a boat that we need to be paddling in the same direction. Well, we have a flotilla in reality, and we need to be going in the same direction. And this represents that in my weird head. This work will be worth it. We collectively should be working towards to ensure that Rutgers doesn't just survive getting by doing more and more with limited resources, but we can and should put Rutgers into a position to thrive. If this policy is approved today, we are poised to move forward with the development of a set of projects that can be implemented to help us achieve the targets the policy sets out. Mr. Kendricks.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, the Financial Sustainability Strategy Plan, guided by the proposed policy, is one of the most important initiatives that the university administration can undertake. As chair of the Committee on Finance and Facilities, speaking on behalf of both myself and my committee, I commend President Holloway, Mr. Gower, and his extended team on the work that has been done to date. I recognize, as does the committee, that the effort that will be needed for the university to embrace the concept of financial sustainability and the actions to achieve it will be substantial. In my thinking, it's an absolute necessity. Mr. Chair, I move the resolution to approve the financial strategy policy found under tab F.
Can I get a second, please? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries.